Hey, what is up, mortals? CarelessRex here, and before we get into today's video, I'd like to say something. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time. So if you're interested, go to the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, if you didn't know, only 25% of you guys are subscribed to us. So please hit that subscribe button and click that bell icon. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. In this deep dive, we will be explaining Koro-sensei from the Anime Assassination classroom, starting with his past. Koro-sensei was born into one of the vilest, corrupt slums where everyone quickly betrayed each other, to the point where you couldn't even trust yourself. To get by, he became the famous assassin known as the Reaper. He was well known for breaking through even the most strict security teams to assassinate his targets without a hitch. However, this changed when he killed a wealthy businessman as his child witnessed the murder and was entranced by the beauty of his father's death. He was so intrigued that he asked the Reaper if he could train him to become his apprentice. The Reaper accepted his request and taught him to the best of his ability. During training, the Reaper taught the child everything he knew, while ensuring that he still feared yet respected him. He did this by reminding him of their difference in power, more precisely, how much weaker he was to the Reaper, though he only saw him as a tool for him to use, rather than his beloved student. After multiple successful jobs, the apprentice betrayed the Reaper while he was trying to escape a prison facility. The apprentice then took on his master's name and abandoned him to fuel his ego. The Reaper was captured and thrown into a research laboratory run by Kotaro Yanagisawa. Yanagisawa was researching how to create large amounts of antimatter by having it piggyback on human cells growth. At this lab, the Reaper met and later befriended Agari Yukimura, a teacher who was also in an arranged and abusive marriage with Yanagisawa himself. Agari's job was to keep an eye over the Reaper, as Yanagisawa considered her expendable if anything went wrong. As the tests went on, the Reaper became fond of her, which was when he learned compassion. However, a problem occurred when Yanagisawa and his researchers began questioning what would happen to Koro-sensei's antimatter cells when he died. They tested this by sending a lab rat with antimatter on its body to the moon. The results were extremely negative, as when the rat passed, the antimatter on the rat created a chain reaction, leading to 70% of the moon's matter turning to antimatter. This horrified Yanagisawa. His subordinates ran calculations which discovered that the same would happen to the Reaper by March 13th of the following year. Yanagisawa and his subordinates planned to kill the Reaper to save Earth. Agari overhears this and immediately tells the Reaper what she heard. He responds that it doesn't bother him, as he has always expected to die like this. He tells Agari to leave and releases his full power that he gained from the experiments to escape, while a fuming Yanagisawa watches from a security camera. The Reaper had a violent rampage, killing multiple guards and damaging Yanagisawa's left eye. During the escape, Agari is wounded, which frustrates the Reaper, as he wished he hadn't wasted his skills on killing and instead would know how to save her. Her final wish is for him to teach Class E, as she believes he would be an excellent teacher. He's heartbroken, but he respects her last request. He puts on the tie she gave him and brand new clothes he made on a mountain and became the Koro-sensei we all know and love. Now that we've explored his tragic past, let's move on to his two appearances. The Reaper had pale skin and a slender build, as well as short black hair and dark eyes. He sported a kind smile which he would use to manipulate others. While carrying out an assassination, he would wear formal clothing, but after Yanagisawa abducted him, he wore patient scrubs until his escape and transformation. Koro-sensei, meanwhile, appeared as a yellow octopus and is approximately 3 meters tall, which is nearly 10 feet. He had a large, bulbous head with a giant smile that rarely moved, along with small, beady eyes. He used 2 tentacles as arms, each having 2 feelers as fingers, and used the rest of his tentacles to walk. He has a pair of hidden nostrils that look like another pair of eyes when they surface. Due to his constant grinning, he can change his color depending on his emotion. For example, pink meant he was sleepy, and purple showed he was shocked. As for his clothes, Koro-sensei wore a black academic dress, a small black square academic cap with a yellow tassel, and a large black tie that had a yellow crescent-shaped moon on the bottom of the tie. During the show, Koro-sensei is a character shrouded in mystery, as no one knows why he wishes to teach these students in particular, and give these students the chance to assassinate him. In the first moments of the show, we are immediately greeted with gunfire, and Koro-sensei dodges the bullets and calls attendance as if nothing was happening. At this point in the show, Koro-sensei is just a nameless teacher until Kayano can name him by the end of the episode. His name is a combination on the word Koro-senai, which means unkillable, and the word sensei, which means teacher. Koro-sensei can teach each of his students valuable lessons, as well as give each of them confidence in themselves despite being in Class 3E. In a match between their class and the school's baseball club, Koro-sensei taught the class how to counter their star players' pitches and helped them win despite Asano's interventions. He was challenged to a duel by the second transfer student, Itona Horibe, which revealed that he has the same tentacle implants that Koro-sensei has, which explains why Horibe referred to him as his brother. Itona loses the duel, and the battle for Koro-sensei's life continues. With finals approaching, Koro-sensei motivated the class to get the highest score in each subject, with the reward being that they are allowed to shoot off one of his tentacles. The results show that Ryo Nakamura, Yuma Isogai, and Manami Okuda scored the highest in English, social studies, and science. However, Koro-sensei will have 4 additional tentacles destroyed, as Terasaka, Hazama, Muramatsu, and Yoshida tied for the highest score in home economics, which Koro-sensei didn't consider as an essential subject. The class's plan is to attempt their assassination in Okinawa, which was the prize for winning their wager with Class A. Arriving on the island resort, Koro-sensei partakes in many activities with the class, seemingly not knowing the real purpose of his students' plan ahead of the assassination. At the end of the trip, he's been sunburnt to the point that his face went black. The class then makes him watch an embarrassing film of his odd antics to weaken him mentally. When it finishes, he realizes too late as they shoot off his tentacles. The students trap him in a hydraulic water cage and fire anti-sensei bullets all around him. However, he can avoid death by turning into a ball with an unbreakable shield surrounding him. Later that night, 10 of his students fall ill because of an artificial virus. The mastermind behind their illness puts them to ransom and demands that Nagisa and Kayano bring Koro-sensei to the mountain hotel in exchange for the antidote. Although unable to move, Koro-sensei helps the 15 remaining students infiltrate the hotel by telling them what to do, while simultaneously distracting one of the hired hitmen. When the class discovers the mastermind to be their old PE teacher Akira Takaoka, Koro-sensei is forced to watch him and Nagisa fight for the antidote. The battle was so intense that Koro-sensei grew worried and even advised Karasuma to intervene should anything terrible happen. Fortunately, Nagisa was able to defeat Takaoka, though it is revealed that the virus was fake. The next day, Koro-sensei was sealed away in concrete slabs by Karasuma to kill him, but he managed to return to his standard form. Before we get back into the dive, I would like to say that we are only one of the many We the Celestial channels, in case you guys didn't know. If you have the sugar tooth for great storytelling, please give our What If channels a visit. No matter if it's My Hero Academia What Ifs or Naruto What Ifs, we've got you covered. Did we get your attention? Great! Click that icon in the top right corner or check the description below for the links to the other channels. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back into the dive. Much like the first semester, Koro-sensei continued teaching Class 3E valuable life lessons. He gave the class some practical experience by organizing a game of cops and robbers, which inspired Yuma Isogai to lead his class to victory against Class A during the athletic festival. Koro-sensei briefly lost trust with his students when they suspected him of crimes he did not commit due to his perverted hobbies. They once more ambush him using the same strategy employed by Class E during the summer vacation. This time, Koro-sensei convinced Itona to join them after he was coldly abandoned by Shiro for his repeated failures and removed the tentacles from him. The end of the semester took a dangerous twist when Kaede Kayano launched a surprise attack on Koro-sensei, revealing that she has tentacles herself. Koro-sensei avoided falling into an anti-sensei BB-filled pit by blasting a hole in the wall, prompting Kayano to recoil on instinct. Koro-sensei asks what happened to her afterward, and she reveals herself to be the younger sister of Agari Yukimura, shocking Koro-sensei and her classmates. After seeing his past finally catching up to him, Koro-sensei agreed to tell the full story of his past. Moving on to his personality, Koro-sensei was ruthless, cold, and manipulative as a human, due to where he was brought up. However, this changed when he met Agari as he finally discovered how to feel compassion. Because of this, he became kinder. Agari stated that if he were born into a peaceful life, his personality would be someone a little perverted, with a good head but a few screws loose, petty about small things, and also very stubborn. He would have a gentle smile, not just for business, but also because he is a gentle person himself. This prediction is proven right after he became Koro-sensei, which shows how much Agari influenced him. When Koro-sensei was first introduced, he was a cheerful individual who demanded unreasonable requests despite claiming that he would be the cause of the planet's destruction in a year. A majority of the time, he would be kind to his students. Still, he could change from silly to threatening on the fly. And according to Nagisa, he was sometimes unintentionally petty towards others. He would love gossip, both traits heavily referenced throughout the series. From time to time, his old personality as the Reaper would shine through. An example of this is when Terasaka tries to sacrifice Nagisa to kill Koro-sensei, which causes him to menacingly threaten their families if they try to do such a thing again, which was his old method of teaching using fear. As the series progresses, his character development allows him to be more capable of real empathy, and learning to use that empathy to teach the students valuable lessons instead of using fear and rewards, which he taught his apprentice. He cared deeply for his students' mental and physical well-being and would lose his temper whenever they were put in danger, even by one another. An example of this occurring was on their annual trip to Kyoto. A few of his students were assaulted and kidnapped by a gang of high schoolers hidden in an alley. Koro-sensei infiltrated the building where the kidnapped students were being held and beat up all the high schoolers, making them run away in fear. One of his many attributes was that he could connect to each student individually. He did this by being an objective, empathetic, and observant person who would do anything for his students. This led to his students respecting him significantly, even though he would blow up the earth in a year. As he took care of all his students' needs, he would sometimes be intrigued by their problems or what they're interested in and would try his best to guide them along or solve it for them. He also loved sweets to the extreme and was quite perverted, which is a trait he shared with his student Okajima. This characteristic was revealed to be a side effect of the experimentation, which made him unable to hide his true feelings. Since Koro-sensei is superhuman, he has many powers that are shown during the show, his first of which being Antimatter Physiology, where only anti-sensei weapons can damage his body. It was initially believed that he would self-destruct by their graduation, but it has since been proven that the probability of that occurring was unlikely at best. He also has protective coloring, which is when he changes his skin to any color, which he uses to display emotions and camouflage with his surroundings and using disguises. Another ability of his is his mucus, which is a standard trait of an antimatter organism. Koro-sensei uses his slime as support and has different purposes, such as waterproofing, cleansing, adhesive, and the replacement of tears. After he drank poison created by one of his students, he gained the ability to control his fluidity, which allowed him to morph into a mercury-like slime mass. Koro-sensei can also fit through any space while retaining most of his skills, apart from his body and tentacles. Another power of his is the absolute defense, which was never used until the Okinawa trip. This power allows him to shrink his body into a sphere. The remaining energy from the transformation hardens as a crystallized second layer over his spherical shape, making him impervious to harm. After 24 hours, the external shell liquefies, and he will slowly absorb energy over some time until he fully regenerates. The only drawback to this is that he is rendered immobile and susceptible to being carried around. Developed from the absolute defense, Koro-sensei can also channel a portion of his inner energy to his tentacles to discharge a laser blast. Just like some animals, Koro-sensei can molt once a month. He can use his old skin to protect himself or others from even military-grade explosives. This temporarily decreases his speed, but it's not enough for him to get hit by his students' attacks. Koro-sensei can regenerate his limbs, but this weakens his stamina. As well as teaching the students, Koro-sensei taught himself specific surgery methods which he used to help Azusa and Kayano. Koro-sensei can travel to the speed of Mach 20 as his soft jelly-like skin hardens under immense pressure, which is a process known as the dilatancy phenomenon, which lowers wind resistance, allowing him to reach inhuman speeds. The only known objects that have been able to surpass this are the reusable space shuttle and the transformed Reaper. He has superhuman reflexes where he can dodge multiple anti-sensei bullets. This also allows him to catch or deflect any flying projectile while in midair. Due to this speed, he appears to make copies of himself, each taking on wildly different tasks. He used this to teach every student at once when they were approaching a severe test. He also has superhuman senses to detect even small changes in temperature, light, sound, and smell. Though he doesn't have visible ears or a nose, he's shown to pick up on sounds that no human could hear, and even identify someone by their smell alone. He can also detect even the most minor of aromas, which has helped him evade the assassination attempts of Class 3E. Koro-sensei can digest anything, apart from anti-sensei weapons, as his teeth can crush anything, no matter how hard it is. When he eats something, he can either molten the food, then eject it, or simply digest it. Although he may receive irregularities from what he's eaten, this wouldn't disadvantage him enough to be a weakness. Along with these powers, Koro-sensei already had individual abilities, which he learned throughout his career as an assassin. He has always been incredibly gifted, which allowed him to learn and understand intricate knowledge in minutes. With his superhuman speed, he can process information thousands of times faster than the average human. This allowed him to be able to teach the students every subject ideally. He also used this ability to multitask on up to dozens of jobs at a time. When he was human, he was considered the world's best assassin. As a result, Koro-sensei can combat nearly every assassination attempt, whether utilized by the students or professional killers. He stores all that he has learned and uses this information to his advantage. To become the perfect teacher for Class 3E, he memorized every single textbook in Japan to coach his students on their weaknesses. Koro-sensei was able to upgrade Ritsu by designing and implementing approximately 985 modifications and upgrades within less than a single day. He also improved her AI to grant her some form of autonomy and sentience. Although he's not void of imperfection, as throughout the series, Nagisa discovers that Koro-sensei had approximately 40 weaknesses, which range from ensuring his own students staying safe to juicy gossip. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time. So if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, I'd like to thank our $5 and up patron supporters who fund these videos. Lastly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video and the audio and video editors for this video. Their details are in the description below. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out, mortals. Have a fantastic day.